Thanks so much, Matt. It's really good to be with all of you here in another week of CEP Community Live. My name is Megan Nair, and I am a research yoga instructor here at Emory University, working with the Cognitive Empowerment Program. And really, our whole mission here is to be a living lab for people after a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment. We work with members and their care partners and families. Really, the vision is to promote health and wellness and joy through a whole lifestyle program. And the reason that yoga is a part of that is because research shows us that, with yoga, there's a lot of significant improvements that we can make in memory recall, in balance, in strength. And they've done a lot of single controlled blind studies that talk a lot about the way that yoga with a regular practice can really help with visual memory, attention, and working memory. And so we brought an accessible yoga program into Emory, and we're going to be using a chair. You can see here behind me, it's really all that you're going to need. Our practice is going to be about 45 minutes long. It's going to be mostly seated with a few opportunities at the end to either work on balance and lower body strength seated or standing. And so we'll take a comfortable seat together and go ahead and get started. And go ahead and grab a chair, grab a cup of water. And if you guys have any problems throughout our recording, hearing me or seeing the video, feel free to let us know in the chat. Otherwise, let's go ahead and slide our hips to the front of our chair. And really, when we talk about working with memory and attention recall in yoga, one of the things we're working with is self-observation and attention. So I'll offer a lot of guiding kind of principles and alignment as we go along through our practice today. And the offering is to take the ones that work for you and leave the rest behind. You can make adjustments and readjustments depending on what is comfortable for your body today. And that's really one of the most important things, is to make yourself comfortable no matter what happens through practice. So let's go ahead and get aware of our body position here by starting out with our feet. Look at your feet on the ground and separate your feet hip-width distance apart. You can even look at your big toes, and sometimes our feet turn in and sometimes they turn out, but we're working on getting into a neutral position here. So make sure your big toes are pointing straight ahead if you can see them in front of you. Yeah. We'll talk a lot about your feet. It's the foundation for your balance. Go ahead and bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. We're going to do a lot of weight transfers working on balance today. Lean to the left side, like you're going around a sharp curve in a fast car. And come all the way back to center. We're going to work on some weight transfers to get that part of our brain firing, those neural pathways established. Lean to the right side. You might feel a little bit off balance, but don't go any further than you go when you start to lose your balance. Inhale back to center. And we'll look through a few rounds just like that. As you lean to the side, you might take a big breath in. Exhale back to center and switch. A big stretch on the side of your rib cage here. The muscles that wrap around our rib cage can get tight. They can cause constriction and breathing. Come all the way back to center and back to the side. Good. Let's get a little bit more fluid with our motions as we start to warm up our spine a little bit. As you come all the way to the right side, you might even lift up your right tippiest of toe. Yeah. Come all the way back to center and switch. Go all the way to the right side and lift your left heel up. And let's just make sure we got a little feedback about gallery view. Let's make sure that everybody can see me here, and I'll spotlight the video. There we go. Should be a little bit easier, hopefully, for you there, Mary. All right, so a few more times all the way back to one side and to center. And with your hips at the front of your chair, let's do some rocking chair motions forward and backwards. Lean forward and let your weight come into your feet. You might feel a big stretch in your back. And we're on the tip of our chair because when you lean back, you want a little bit of room behind you. Good. Inhale back to center. Big breath in. Exhale, lean forward. Only go as far as you need to feel the stretch. Inhale all the way back up to center. Exhale, lean back. Inhale to center. And if the breath movements work for you, they're going to help with some lung capacity. Inhale back up. And if they don't work for you today, if they bring too much of a strain, you can simply leave them behind. Inhale, lift all the way back up. And then make your rocking chair movements a little bit more fluid. We'll do a lot of weight transfers today. We want to really activate the communication from our brain to the part of our body that keeps us grounded when we start to fall and catches us when we lose our balance. So as we play around with that right now, you might even close your eyes or turn your gaze down towards the floor if that's a little bit more comfortable. And getting a little bit more subtle in your rocking chair, like you're starting to stop on the front porch and slow down a little bit. See if you can get a little bit smaller in your rocking motion. And start to slow down so much so that you bring the center of your chest over the center of your hips. And you might place your hand on the center of your chest to kind of play around with just noticing where your chest is at in space. We call that proprioception, when we notice where we're at in space. You might slow down and finally find stillness. And we'll work on our posture here. With an inhale, lift your chest up into your palm to grow a little bit taller. And with an exhale, release your shoulders down, release your hands into your lap. And you might just pause here for a moment, maybe for the first time today, maybe for the first time this week. And if it's comfortable, interlace your fingers and rest your knuckles in your lap, so that your shoulders can loosen up and soften a little bit. A little self-observation to start out here. You might bring your attention away from all the things happening outside of you, and we mind a lot of things happening outside of us, to a few things that are happening inside your experience. We're going to start out here by noticing our breath. It's funny, sometimes we don't realize that our breath is happening all the time. We forget to pay attention to it, don't we? As you bring your attention to your breath, you might notice that you want to change and deepen your breath, or you might not change your breath at all. But as you hold your stillness just for a moment, even if it's forced, notice the tone and the capacity of your breath today. Sometimes we find our breath is short and choppy. Other times we've had a little walk in the afternoon and our breath is full and relaxed, or somewhere in between. And without judgment, you might notice your energy levels today. Sometimes our energy is high and we're excited. Other times it's low and we're looking to pick it up a little bit, or somewhere in between. Just notice what you notice. A little self-honesty here. And if there was one word you'd use to describe how you're feeling after that check-in of right here, right now, In this present moment, what's the first word you'd use to describe how you're feeling today? First thought, best thought. Just one word, as simple as it sounds. It can be hard to identify. Don't get frustrated. And on your next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead.
We lost the video feed, so give me one moment. I'm going to try and work on this. If you would like to just continue with audio, I will work on this in the background. Okay?
Yeah, we'll see if we can really work on attention. And just listen to audio, and it's a good cognitive exercise, right? So slide your hips to the front of your chair. Rest your feet flat on the floor, hip-width distance apart. And bring your arms alongside your torso, palms facing forward, arms straight down towards the ground. Straighten your arms out beside you a little bit. And with an inhale, reach your arms up overhead like you're making a big sweeping circle around you. And as you exhale, bring your palms together all the way to trace down the center of your chest, the central column of your spine. And when you're ready to breathe in, reach your arms up overhead. Make a big circle with your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring your palms together and drag your palms back through center. And we'll just open up a full range of motion in our shoulders a few times here. Inhale, arms up overhead. And it really doesn't matter what pattern or what path you choose as you reach your arms up. You'll get a good stretch in your shoulders. Exhale, bring your palms together and trace your thumbs down the central column of your spine, all the way to the center of your chest. And when you're ready for an inhale, reach your arms up again. And you can slow down and take your time. You can move with your breath here. Inhale, reach up, arms up overhead. Big sweep up towards the ceiling above you. Exhale, hands together, all the way back down. And a few more just like that, letting go of unnecessary tension or unnecessary frustration as you start to sync your movements with your breath, almost like a little slow flow all the way back down. Two more, just like that. Inhale, arms up. Big breath in. Exhale, palms down. And again, if the breath work works for you, we'll be working on opening up some bigger lung capacity, which is really good. A lot of people are talking about that post-COVID, especially if you're in recovery or using a CPAP machine. Exhale, release. And rest your hands on top of your knees. With your hands on your thighs, straighten your arms so you get a little bit of support to sit up nice and tall. Notice if you're someone who rounds your back and makes yourself a little bit shorter, just like we did earlier. See if you can bring the center of your chest back over the center of your hips. And with your hands straighten on your legs, lift your chest up nice and tall. Good. We'll go through some cat-cow motions to start to warm up the spaces in between our spine. With an exhale, keep your hands on your knees and round your back. Bring your chin down towards your chest. Good stretch in your low back, middle back, upper back. And as you inhale, arch your back. Lift your gaze and maybe bend your elbows to draw your shoulders a little further onto your back. Yes. Exhale, round, chin to chest. Keep your knees and legs nice and still and steady on the floor. Inhale, arch, lift your gaze, arch your back just a little bit. And let's continue to move with our breath a little bit here. If that's comfortable, exhale to round. You can even release the weight of your head down to stretch the back of your neck. Inhale, lift your gaze up, stretch the front of your chest. Exhale around, a few more, just like that. And only go as far as you need to go to feel the stretch. Notice the boundaries that you have for the range of motion in your spine today. Sometimes we're working with slipped disc or pinched disc or even nerves in our back. So be mindful and sensitive to the places that need a little bit more compassion. As you exhale, release the weight of your head. Inhale, lift your gaze up and arch. One more round, just like that. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Good. All right, and if you've been having a little bit of trouble with arthritis in your hands, we're going to do a few movements to help with that. Go ahead and shake your fingers out to the side. Try to have loose wrists here. And we'll get a little circulation through our hands, a little bit of hydration into the joints here. And see if you can loosen up a little bit and let your hands go out to the side. Good. Shake them out for 3, 2, 1. And then interlace your fingers all the way to the webbing. And let's roll our wrist out a few times. And this is good for some of you who spent a lot of time sitting at desk or at a computer. If you've faced any issues with carpal tunnels, this one is nice. And one thing that's always good for cognition is to do things in the opposite direction, the one that's a little bit less coordinated. So go the opposite direction as you roll your wrist out with your fingers interlaced. Nice. And then we'll flick our fingers a few times. Cover up your fingernails with your thumbs so that I couldn't see the color of your fingernails if you had them painted. And like you're flicking water on a friend, we're going to do some fine motor movements here. Flick your fingers out in front of you, like you're dipping your hands in the sink and flicking water on someone close by. This is good for some fine motor movements. And then see how fast you can flick your fingers like that for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake your wrist out. That's really good work in your forearms. Mine definitely feel that. Go ahead and sit up nice and tall. And we worked on our shoulders, a little bit of coordination in our wrist and our hands so far. Let's check out what's happening in the lower half of our body, in our legs. See if you can lift your left heel up away from the floor, like you're coming on to your tippiest of tiptoe here. Good. Slide your foot right underneath your knee so your shin is straight up and down. And let's do some calf stretches. Lift and lower your heel. On the left side, up and down, and only go as far as you need to go to feel the stretch. Sometimes the heel doesn't want to lift that much. Other times we're working around injuries or chronic pain. Notice the feedback that you're getting from your body and allow your experience to come with a little bit of compassion. For any frustration that arises along the way, release your left foot back down and come up onto your right tippiest of toe. Keep your posture tall. Lift the center of your chest back over your hips and see if you can hold your heel up as high as it's willing to go today. And then lower it back to the ground a few times. We work with the soles of our feet to work with balance, and a lot of our proprioceptive system ways of catching ourselves when we fall come from the awareness in the soles of our feet, especially under our big toes, right? So as you lift and lower, you might notice Any feedback you're getting underneath your toes, if you can sense your feet on the floor. Good. And release. Slide your left leg out in front of you and straighten your knee just a little bit, but keep a slight bend there. Point your left big toe up towards the ceiling rather. And flex your foot a little bit. Keep your posture nice and tall with your left leg stretched out in front of you. Flex your foot and rest your left heel on the floor. And then let's flex and point on the left side a few times. Now, your range of motion may be different than mine. It may be different than it was last week. See if you can notice with what comes up and be kind to the way you treat yourself in the process. Slide your left foot back to meet your right and stretch your right leg out in front of you. Keep a slight bend to your knee, especially if you're a hyperextender. And you might even bring your hands to your hips and work on your posture. You can pull your low belly in towards your spine to work on some muscles that support your low back, especially if you've been experiencing some back pain. Point your right big toe up towards the ceiling, flex your foot well, and you might even try to twinkle your toes a little bit here and notice the ones that are willing to move and the ones that are still working towards that. Whatever you find is perfect. Go ahead and flex and point a few times. There may be some tenderness in your calf. That's okay. Keep your posture nice and tall here. Good. For 3, 2, 1, and release. Slide your right foot back to meet your left. Come up onto your left tipiest of toe again. You might stay here and work on posture, just drawing your shoulders and your elbows back. This is a really good place to build the strength in your belly and in your shoulders to stand tall. Or you might pull your left heel up for a little bit more of a challenge and float your left heel away from the mat a little bit. See if you can lift your knee up a little or a lot, and wherever you're at, be kind in your self-talk. For 3, 2, 1, release. Switch sides. Come up onto your right tipiest of toe. Stay here, draw your belly in, lift your posture up nice and tall. And you might even soften your gaze and look straight ahead. Or to challenge yourself today, float your right heel up away from the floor. Flex your foot well and pull your right knee up into your chest a little or a lot. And you may not want to invite more challenge into your day today. It may have been challenging enough. Feel free to just stay with your tipiest of toe on the ground if that is your choice today. Everybody sit up nice and tall, like you're getting your height measured against the wall for 3, 2, 1, and release. Rest your hands in your lap. And you might just close your eyes, or if it's more comfortable, turn your gaze down towards the floor as you take a moment to check in after a few warm-ups and a few movements here. And just like we did earlier, bring your attention inward to the tone of your breath. And notice if anything has shifted, and the answer may be no. That's okay. Take a big full breath in through your nose, like you're releasing a pressure valve out of your mouth. Big release. Good. Open your eyes gently. Let's let some tension go in our shoulders. With an inhale, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Get really nice and tall here. Let those shoulders drop down for that big release. 2 more just like that. Inhale. Nice and tall. Hold your breath in just for a moment and then release. Last round. Inhale. Big release. Bring your hands to your hips. Sit your posture up nice and tall. And all we're doing is practicing. So see if you can practice a little bit of lift up through the crown of your head here. With an inhale, stretch your left arm up overhead. Reach your arm up towards your ear and straighten your arm to your capacity. And you might even get so concentrated in your attention that you bring your fingertips together and point your palm in as you bring some awareness all the way up to your fingertips here. With an exhale, lean over to the right. Inhale, back to center, stretch up. Exhale, to the side. And you might get a big stretch in the side of your rib cage. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, tip to the right, like you're pouring your spout of your teapot out. Remember when we used to do that rhyme with the kids? Inhale, reach up. Last round. Exhale, tip to the side. Inhale all the way back through center. Bring your left hand back to your hip. And you might notice a difference between the left and right side after some of that blood circulated in the opposite direction of the arm that you had lifted up overhead. Let's do the same thing on the second side. With an inhale, stretch your right arm up overhead, reach up towards the ceiling. Bring your fingertips together. Point your palm in to get very specific with your attention. As you reach up through your top arm, you might straighten it to your capacity to work on lengthening these muscles here between your hip and your armpit all the way up to your fingertips. With an inhale, stretch up like you're reaching to the top shelf. Exhale, lean to the left side this time. Good. Inhale, back up. Exhale, tip to the left, but keep your feet and your hips heavy and planted on the floor underneath you. Notice if you've gone too far. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, maybe breathe in through your nose if it's comfortable for your sinuses. Exhale, tip and pour your spout out to the left. Inhale, back to center. And if you need to take a break, take one, or take this next last round with us. Lean to the side. Inhale, come all the way back to center. Exhale, bring your hands back to your hips. Let's go ahead and slide our hips to the very front of our chair, if they're not there already. Just like we just completed. With an inhale, stretch your right arm up overhead. Now we're going to do a little torso twist, only as far as you need to go, without sensing any pain. Turn your upper body towards the left. Keep your knees pointing straight ahead, and bring your right hand outside of your left knee or whatever leg you can reach comfortably here as you gently turn your chest and maybe even your gaze over to the left side. Like you're looking for a car behind you. If it's okay for your neck, you might even gaze past your left shoulder. Now, if you're working with any osteoporosis and any bone density issues, you really want to keep a very subtle twist here. And twisting can be really good if you've been having some low back pain. You might even draw your belly button in towards your spine a little bit and lift up nice and tall as you soften your eyes a little bit. And notice if you're clamping or clenching your jaw or holding your breath. Exhale, both hands to your hips. Come all the way back to center. And you might notice any differences that you sense on the left and right side. After only doing one side, let's even things out on both sides. With an inhale, stretch your left arm up overhead this time. Big reach up towards the ceiling. With an exhale, very gently twist your upper body open to the right without moving your knees or your feet. Bring your left hand outside of your right knee or whatever part of your legs that you can reach easiest here. You might even press your hand into your leg to help assist your upper body turn to the right. Maybe gaze past your right shoulder like you're looking for a spider on the wall behind you. Only if it's okay for your low back and for your neck here, feel free to make any adjustments along the way. You might notice if you can soften your face a little bit. Let your shoulders drop down away from your ears. And as you get the stretch in the right places, we don't want to bring unnecessary tension into places that don't help, like your face or your forehead. Try to soften the wrinkle across your forehead here. Let your breath breathe itself, even if you have to remind yourself a few times. And then exhale, come all the way back to center, hands to hips. With an inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Take a full breath in, and we're going to really kind of do one more low back stretch as you exhale, fold forward. Keep your hips in the chair and release your fingertips, your shoulders, and the weight of your head down towards the floor here. Only as far as you need to go to feel a stretch in your low back. Let your head hang heavy. On your next inhale, slide your hands up to the tops of your knees and lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Slide your hands towards the floor below you. And with a lot of lower body strength, press into your feet. With an inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. Reach up through your fingertips. Yeah, big stretch up towards the ceiling, exactly where we started. Exhale, pull your hands down the central column of your spine. Good. We'll do some more just like that. Linking our movement with our breath, if it feels okay for your body. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at your hips. Keep your feet planted on the floor. Inhale, half lift. Bring your hands to the tops of your legs. Lift up and look halfway. Exhale, slide your hands down a little or a lot. Inhale, press into your feet. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Take a big full breath in. Exhale, hands back through center. Yeah, good. Inhale, reach up, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Last round here. Release the weight of your head down, and on your next inhale, slide your hands up to your knees and lift up halfway. Exhale, hands down. Release the length of your neck to rest your head towards the floor. Inhale, press into your feet. Reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, palms together, back through center. All the way down to the tops of your knees. And as you inhale, lift your chest up nice and tall. Stretch your spine. Exhale, round your back, chin to your chest. We've been here before. Inhale, arch your back. Lift your gaze up and pull your shoulders back and down. Exhale, round your back, chin towards your chest once more. Inhale, lift up nice and tall. Slide your hands to your hips and come up onto your left tippiest of toe. Stay here or float your left foot away from the floor and optionally interlace your hands in front of your knee or behind the back of your thigh to pull your knee up a little bit higher. And that's an option that may not work for you. Exhale, release. Hands to the tops of your thighs. Lift your chest up nice and tall. Take a full breath in. Exhale, release. Round your back, chin to your chest. Inhale, arch your back, lift your gaze up, draw your shoulders back and down. Exhale, round, chin to chest. Inhale, slide your hands to your hips, sit up nice and tall for good posture, and this time come up onto your right tipiest of toe. Stop and stay here, or float your foot up a little, or a lot to go further. Optionally, interlace your hands in front of your knee or behind the back of your thigh. Wherever you're at, flex your foot well, flare your toes open and out to the side, and gently release. With an inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. Exhale, trace your hands all the way back through center to release. Good. Let's just take a moment to check in with our shoulders and roll them out a few times. We've been working with a little low belly strength. We've been working with some balance and the soles of our feet and building awareness there. And switch the direction of your shoulders to go the opposite, a less coordinated way, which we know is good for neural pathways in our motor movements, and these big movements in our body are really good for cognition. Good. Come all the way back to center, rest your shoulders down, sit up nice and tall, and let's stretch out our neck here. Drop your left ear down towards your left shoulder. Take a moment here to really stretch the right side of your neck. Practice can help relieve stress in your physical body in places like your neck and your shoulders like this. But it can also help to regulate your energy and your emotions. You might lift your chin up. Inhale, come all the way back to center. Exhale, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And bring your awareness to the stretch in the left side of your neck here. You might tilt your chin up or your chin down, depending on what feels good for that stretch today. You might let this right ear be nice and heavy. As we bring motion and movement into our body, it really helps to start that process of calming our thoughts and bringing our body away from our sympathetic nervous system into our parasympathetic nervous system, getting ourselves away from responses like stress and overwhelm and into places where we can regulate and integrate. Inhale, come all the way back through center. Exhale, release your chin towards your chest one more time, but this time keep your back straight. And draw your shoulder back a little bit. And take a big breath in through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth and release. And stay here for just one moment. We think about these big breaths and getting our body back regulated is one of the things that helps regulate sleep and promote a sense of well-being and introspection. Inhale, lift your chin all the way back up. And again, let's release the pressure valve. Take a big breath in through your nose. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears. Big release. One more, just like that. Big release. And for a little bit of self-care and some release of some of the tension in our shoulders, cross your arms to opposite biceps and use the strength and the grip of your palms to squeeze the muscles of your arms. I think about releasing lymph fluid, that fluid of our immune system here. As you get a little bit more firm with your touch, you might find places that are sensitive. You might close your eyes and start to dial your attention back inside again. You might notice places that feel a little bit more sensitive, and you might even come down and squeeze your forearms and your wrist a little bit. And then hands to the tops of your thighs. Go ahead and you might sense the fabric underneath your palms of whatever clothing you're wearing today, underneath your hands. Use the grip of your palms to squeeze the tops of your quads and notice any sensitive areas that you feel here under your fingertips or your palm. And then with an inhale, sit up nice and tall. Bring your hands back to the tops of your knees. And just like the way that we started, go ahead and close your eyes or turn your gaze down towards the floor and come back to these really subtle rocks in your rocking chair. Notice the weight transfer from the front of your hips to the back of your seat. And very gradually make your rocking more subtle, a little smaller, very gradually coming all the way back to bringing the center of your chest to stack over your hips. And if it's comfortable, interlace your fingers to the webbing and rest your knuckles in your lap. And once more, resolve to hold stillness, even if it's challenging, even just for a moment. You might notice your feet on the floor underneath you, the weight of your hips in the chair. And just like where we started, bring your attention back to the tone and the quality of your breath. Let your breath come in and out a few times very simply. You might try to relax your shoulders down away from your ears. If you notice, like me, that you carry a lot of tension in your shoulders, let them soften down here. And many of us hold a lot of tension in our belly. You might imagine loosening up the muscles of your belly a little bit. Notice if you're holding any tension in your face, you might relax your jaw again and loosen up the wrinkle across your forehead or the furrow of your brow. And we like to do self-observation with a lot of acceptance and a lot of compassion. And two wings of mindfulness here at the CEP program are awareness and compassion. So with one more honest little self-observation moment here, you might notice how your energy is at the end of our practice together. Wherever you find yourself at on that spectrum again. You might notice how you're feeling physically. And with all that information in mind, once more you might notice the first word that comes to mind to describe the way that you're feeling right here, right now. Sometimes it changes and sometimes it doesn't. Wherever you're at, notice without trying to change or fix anything at all. And very slowly begin to deepen your breath as you invite in a few softer, fuller rounds. Take a big breath in through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Release. On your next full inhale, stretch your arms up overhead, reach up through your fingertips, stretch up towards your ceiling. And as you exhale, trace your palms all the way back through center. Rub the palms of your hands together in front of your chest, like you're sparking a little heat, a little friction between your palms for 5, 4, 3, a little faster yet, 2, 1, and then close your eyes and cup your palms over your eyelids and blink a few times as you try to sense the heat from your palms on your eyelids and your skin. And blink your eyes open and closed a few times as you gently release your hands all the way back down. And you did it. You made it through our yoga practice today. Maybe it's the first time that you've joined us. Maybe you've joined us before in the past, but thank you for offering your time and your curiosity. The brain loves things that are new. It loves things that are different. It loves to be challenged. And this is one of the places that you can come to do that here at the CEP Live. Our yoga sessions are happening about once a month, maybe every 6 weeks or so. And check out our YouTube page online if you're looking to get more of the videos from our program. We've got some ones lined up from the past there. So thank you, Matt, for hosting.